Mic check 3. Up. Mic check 3. 1, 2. Sounds good.
Oh, thank you all for being here, and I hope that you had time to go around to all the different departments and visit with somebody. Please, somebody in Stormwater, say my duck for me, because I need that duck. But I am delighted that you all are here this morning. I started my morning at a health fair, and I was rushing here, but so I promise I calmed myself down because I didn't want to be late, so my blood pressure's good. But in District 5, we try to do it right. And so we wanted you to see the amazing facility here at the Eastside Y. They opened the pool this summer, so there's lots for you to do. But today we're going to spend some time talking about two very important items: the comprehensive plan and also the 2026 bond election. But I cannot start any presentation without introducing some VIPs. That's very important public servants. And so today we have been joined by 3 of our commissioners, okay? And don't say, oh no. And so we have our commissioner here for aviation, Commissioner Marvin Diaz. Would you stand up? Okay. And so he thought he retired. We got him back on the aviation board, and then he started a whole new aviation program at UTA. So thank you, okay? And then Commissioner Robertson, would you stand up on Trinity Metro Board? So he made the mistake of telling me that he loved what he did, and so I signed him up for a whole nother term. But more importantly, we have a very special commissioner here today with a very special, something happened yesterday. Commissioner Charles Edmonds, happy belated birthday. And so Commissioner Edmonds serves on our zoning commission. He served on our planning commission. So he brings a wealth of knowledge and information. And so just so grateful to have him serving. So thank you very much. Okay. So, but now what you all came for is not to see me. You didn't. I know you didn't. You came to see what we have planned for. And so here today, we have extraordinary city staff here to help us navigate this. So very quickly, I'm going to ask all city staff to please stand or wave or give something so we'll know you're all here. They're here to answer questions, so you should not walk out of this room without having your question at least answered or us promised to follow up. This is your meeting, and that is why we're here. And so I'm going to turn it over to our amazing representative from the planning department. Tony, come on up here, because Tony is going to walk us through the 2050 comprehensive plan, because you need to know about that before we go into the bond program. So Tony, thank you very much.
Thank you. So my name is Tony Harold. I'm the planning manager for Fort Worth's Long Range Planning Division, here to talk about the 2050 Comprehensive Plan. Before I start talking, we have a nice short video for y'all to look at.
This is our Fort Worth, the place where we grew up.
Where our friends will build dreams and where the choices we make today shape the world we live in tomorrow.
Our city is growing faster than ever, but growth takes smart planning. Designing neighborhoods and districts where people can live, work, learn, and play within reach.
It's about thinking long-term, and now's the time to
is working to get it done. And so we'll let Olga work on that. But what the comprehensive plan tells us is where we're going. And that's the whole purpose of this. And that's why I wanted us to see the comprehensive plan before we saw the bond program. Okay, Tony says, okay, I'm gonna sit here and I'll be his visual assistant. So, okay, when y'all get tired of listening to him, somebody hold your hand and I'll go like this to tell him to shut up, okay?
So I think we may skip the video for today. It looks like we're having some technical difficulties. Oh.
Uh-oh, maybe it's gonna show. Y'all didn't pay y'all bill. Look, this society always pays their bill.
So the 2050 Comprehensive Plan really is meant to act as, it works with the bond, but it's really meant to act as Fort Worth's official guide for growth and development over the next 25 years. It's truly thought of as, Okay. So it really is the goals, objectives, policies, and strategies, a summary of all of these things that will be the official guide for growth and development across the city. This is a truly long-range plan, and it's for 2050. It's for the next 2.5 decades. So it's not just for you and me in this room, it's for our kids, it's for our grandkids, and it's even for our great-grandkids. Because as we grow up, we want everybody to have equal opportunity for, working in good jobs, good housing, safe neighborhoods, strong neighborhoods, and essentially just a strong, resilient economy overall. We can just go to the next slide.
Rose is working hard over here.
We do have our team over here, by the way, the Long Range Planning Division. We are here to talk to you about long range planning in general, as well as the 2050 Comprehensive Plan and how it ties into the bond program, how it ties into other plans throughout the city. We also are asking for folks to participate in our DOT board over here.
our Fort Worth, the place where we grew up.
Where our friends will build dreams and where the choices we make today shape the world we live in tomorrow.
Our city is growing faster than ever, but growth takes smart planning. Designing neighborhoods and districts where people can live, work, learn, and play within reach.
It's about thinking long-term, and now's the time to reimagine where we can go next. That's what the 2050 Comprehensive Plan is all about. A vision and a plan for how we grow, connect, and thrive over the next 25 years.
Think of this as a big picture way to plan. Instead of focusing on one property at a time, we look at how entire neighborhoods, streets, and districts fit together, how homes link to schools and work sites, and how trails lead to parks and community centers.
Imagine turning an empty lot into a playground.
Imagine turning an empty lot into a new home or a business right down the street.
We can create active neighborhood centers where people meet up with family and friends, connected by green corridors, trails, and efficient transit, building every corner of our city. This kind of planning keeps each area's character intact, while giving every neighborhood a chance to grow in a way that fits its residents.
Our future can be a place with even more great jobs and innovative companies, with advanced employment and higher education centers.
Vibrant places, great neighborhoods, a city we're all proud to call home. That's the future the comprehensive plan helps guide for all of us.
So what will Fort Worth look like when I grow up?
Those decisions start now, and they start with you. Your voice, your ideas, your priorities, they shape the goals and policies that will guide our future.
This is your chance to help decide how land is used, how growth happens, and how we enhance the character of our neighborhoods.
Join the conversation.
Share ideas.
And help us reimagine Fort Worth.
This is our chance to make Fort Worth a better place with fun.
We did it. We made it through. So again, just to reiterate, this is a long-range comprehensive plan, just to kind of make sure we're understanding all of this. And it really is meant to guide Fort Worth over the next decades, particularly as we continue to grow. From 11th largest to 10th largest, 9th, 8th largest city in the country. We really want to have this comprehensive mindset, and we want to really involve all departments across the city, expertise from consultants, as well as consultation with you, the public. So where are we now in this plan? In 2024, we worked with the community to develop an emerging vision, an overall vision for the city of Fort Worth. And now, as we're in 2025, moving into 2026, and ultimately into adoption in 2027, we're really trying to hone in on that emerging vision and develop the goals, strategies, and actions needed to turn that vision into reality, into an actual comprehensive plan. And again, we're doing this through expert consultation. We're doing it through pop-up events. We're doing it through meetings. We're doing it through online engagement as well, and I'm going to show you a couple resources in the future. The next slide, where we can continue involvement throughout this process. So your primary window into our planning process is Connect Fort Worth. That's www.connectfw.com/comprehensive-plan. It's also available through this QR code and through QR codes throughout the meeting, throughout these slides. On there, we do have general project information. We have a timeline of events. We have general phasing, where we are in the project. Any interim research or reports that we're sharing with y'all based on what we've learned throughout the process. Currently, we just added our preliminary engagement survey, or preliminary engagement summary, sorry about that, summarizing the 2024 engagement that I spoke of earlier. So that's available on the site, and as we continue through the process through next year, we are going to continue to add everything that we would like to share with you on the plan itself, on the Connect Fort Worth site itself. Most importantly, right now, we have an active interactive survey. This is going to be open through January 2019, which we highly encourage everybody here to take and share far and wide. This survey really gets at asking y'all for your overall priorities and needs, what you think for the city of Fort Worth, how you feel we should grow over the next, again, 2.5 decades, any thoughts on potential challenges and opportunities that have been identified with the city. And then there's also an opportunity for you all to identify some specific areas throughout the city that you may think there'd be good to have a specific type of development or redevelopment there. And all this information, we get it, we work with it, we add it, we take all this into account when developing the plan. So again, I'm here with the team, Eric Flatiger, Estella Alvarez-Reynoso, Anthony Cisneros, and Connor McDonald. We are the Long Range Planning Team. We're here to talk to you about any questions you might have. Happy to chat after this, happy to chat in the future. There's contact information on Connect Fort Worth, so feel free to send us an email with any questions. We check that every morning, longrangeplanning@fortworthtexas.gov. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to April Rose with the 2026 bond program.
Thank you, Tony. All right, we're gonna do one thing here, which is, oh, lordy. How do we go through full screen? Okay. Nope. I'm just trying to go to full screen. Okay. Thank you. Okay, and we can go to the next one. We can go to the next slide. Oh, we can go to the next one.
In the 2050 Comprehensive Plan, the City of Fort Worth is looking far ahead, setting an ambitious vision for how our city will grow and thrive in the decades to come.
Hey, there we go.
Bringing that big picture vision
All
to
right,
life
so there is a
starts with
video online through YouTube that we highly encourage you to visit, and you can actually access it through www.connectfortworth.com. But I would like to kind of highlight some of the points within that specific video. So as Tony mentioned, the comprehensive plan is really looking into long-range planning. Well, to bring some of that long-range planning to fruition, we really want to start thinking about real short-term action, and that is where the 2026 bond comes in. So, if you've been a resident of the city of Fort Worth for a while, or if you're new, every 4 years, Fort Worth voters have that chance to shape what the future can look like through a bond election. And that is looking at essential infrastructure for 2026. And so currently, we've developed a bond at $840 million, and that's a package, to really keep up with the city of Fort Worth when it comes to moving forward. So one of the big takeaways is that out of the city's 67-cent tax rate, almost 15 cents goes towards paying off debt. Now, that proposed package of the bond at $840 million fits within that 15 cents. So in other words, your tax rate won't go up because of the bond program. So fixing every identified need would cost billions. In fact, the city of Fort Worth, working with City Council, we worked with all of our departments. Our need is actually at about $2.7 billion. And so while we cannot fix everything within $2.7 billion, we can try to be able to assess what we can fit within that $840 million bond program. So I'll go and walk through in a moment related to all the various propositions, but some of the highlights is related to streets and mobility, which includes designing and constructing major roadways, intersections, and so forth. And the proposed projects were chosen to advance our city priorities that were identified within the city's master transportation plan. We also have the Parks and Open Space, which really focuses on expanding recreation and active transportation corridors for our growing population. And again, that also has space and public realm master plans. So the remaining funds that we'll go ahead and show also tie into public safety, animal shelter, library upgrades, and affordable housing. So The projects were not chosen at random. We worked with our staff to really be able to bring to you sort of our best foot forward. But as all things, we're currently in the public engagement phase, in that our projects are not entirely baked, right? They're still a work in progress in terms of being able to receive some of your feedback, receive some of those comments to really help us confirm what that final list can look like when the May 2026 bond election moves forward. So all this to say is that today your voice matters and every idea does count. And I look forward to interacting with you and engaging with you throughout the next couple of slides. Here you go.
Let me move my purse so you don't trip over it.
There we go.
Here, I just dumped
It's a
it
full
when I
screen?
came in.
Okay, we're gonna go through full screen real quick. Okay. Yeah, do you want to click through it for me? Do you want to click through it for me? Can you click for me? Can you click for me? Keep going next.
Keep going.
There we go.
Okay.
All righty. Okay, so as presented, this is the 2026 bond program as it's proposed today. So we have several propositions, as we mentioned earlier. Streets and mobility makes up about 60.9% of the $840 million proposed bond program. Parks and open space makes up about 22%, and the remaining public library at 1.7%, affordable single-family housing at 0.6%, public safety at 7.6%, and animal care and shelter at 7.1%. Now, something that's not going to be shown on each one of these slides is public art funding. And just some additional background, the City of Fort Worth, through council approval, has a city ordinance related to public art. So 1% of public art is funded, 1% will be funded through the streets and mobility proposition, and 2% will be for the remaining propositions. So it's a little bit over about $10 million in total, but you won't see that breakdown for each one of the slides, but understand that it is taken into account within each one of these propositions. What's also shown is on the left-hand side of each one of these slides. Now, having it not full screen and also sitting in the back can make it a little difficult to read where all these projects are, where they're located. So we actually have these exhibits all throughout the room. So right here next to me is the overall 2026 bond program. You can really dive into where it's located within, your area, your BFF across the city, all your various folks in which you can actually see where the projects are located. So again, it breaks down parks, library, 911 call center, intersection projects. The full gamut will be located within each one of these propositions. And so next slide, please. To begin with streets and mobility proposition, at $511.5 million, this includes expanding major roadways at $199.1 million. We also have rebuilding minor roadways at $129.2 million. You can think of that as your neighborhood streets that you may have come to become acquired with and acquainted with through the City of Fort Worth, as well as new upgrading traffic signals at $44.6 million, upgrading intersections at $40.9 million, bridge safety and connections at $40.7 million. So my background is in civil engineering, and within the industry, we consistently talk about our aging infrastructure. That could be streets, but that can also mean bridges as well. And so utilizing some of our proposed bond dollars, we can tackle some of the bridge safety components and be able to really go through and be able to keep our residents safe when it comes to that. So there are dollars that are allocated to bridge safety. Now, in addition to that, we also have regional dollars that we can help leverage. So we have looked at various projects, and in working with our regional partners, we're very, very, how can I say this? We're lucky in a way to be in North Texas because we have some great partnerships all throughout this area. So that includes TxDOT. That includes the North Central Texas Council of Governments. That includes Tarrant County. That includes also federal dollars that we can apply for. And so being able to find projects that we can leverage our bond local dollars as the local share component, we're able to get sort of a match back. So some projects may have a 20-80%. So where we put in 20% of the project cost, and through our regional partnerships, they're able to put in 80%. And that really helps in terms of like ranking projects to the, up on that specific list, because it really helps us stretch our dollars to be able to make as much as we possibly can happen with what we can in this particular proposition. And that also applies to other components such as parks and open space as well. Next is sidewalks and school safety at $28.5 million, as well as Vision Zero projects at 12.3%. Railroad crossings at $6 million and street lights at $5.2 million. Now, I like to stop on that Vision Zero projects. So the City Council actually approved the Safety Action Plan this past August. And so that really helps and will help inform the future when it's related to Vision Zero projects, so that we could utilize that $12.3 million in furthering components within that study, really using that as like a guiding North Star, so that we can implement a lot of safety measures when we're looking at one specific corridor, for example, and seeing how exactly can we improve safety features along that said corridor, so that we can decrease the number of fatalities that are traffic related. All right, next, please, is Parks and Open Space proposition at $185.1 million. And this includes upgrading metropolitan and community parks at $57.5 million. So you can think of like the Gateway Park, for example, there's about $25 million within the proposed bond program for that specific, again, citywide project. The rebuilding the Atatiana Carr Jefferson Community Center at Hillside for $30 million. The open space land conservation at $25 million. If you're not familiar with open space, that is an initiative that the city has undertaken and it's, I believe, also in the previous bond cycle, but that looks at the future growth and being able to acquire and also retain natural open space throughout the city. And we have an entire table that has a great exhibit that shows where some of that availability is. And again, it's about natural open space. And so they can really dive into it. And if you could see Brandy at the very back, she'll wave her hand over there. She can help further clarify and really show you where those opportunities are. Next are aquatic centers at $22 million. The Botanic Garden upgrades at $10.5 million. The water garden upgrades at $10 million. So if you've ever gone to downtown, you're the convention center, brought your friends, or out of state, family that may be visiting, I highly encourage you to go visit and then also understand that there is $10 million proposed to help with those specific upgrades in that area. We also have the Fort Worth Zoo infrastructure at $4 million. And with our next slide, we're going to move into public library proposition. So that's about $14.6 million, which includes the relocation of the Fort Worth History Center, the renovation of Southwest Regional Library, the renovation of Diamond Hill and Jarvis Library. Now, I've said renovation twice already, and that's because it is tied to the public library master plan. And so through that master plan, there's like facility assessments that also basically elevated those two projects up to that list to be able to identify that to be the next two projects to fit within the specific proposition as shown. And also because those two particular public libraries are also reaching that 40-year life cycle, and they've also been, assessed to be the next on this proposition. Okay, next slide is the affordable single-family housing proposition, and this is at $5 million. And this includes buying vacant or blighted properties and funding construction of the infrastructure cost to develop affordable single-family, that single owner occupied housing within the city. So the breakdown of the $5 million is that $1 million would go towards the acquisition of the vacant or blighted properties, and the $4 million, again, we talk about leveraging dollars. We still want to keep with that ethos in that we use that $4 million to leverage our dollars to cover public-based capital infrastructure like water, wastewater impact fees, service lines, sidewalks, again, capital public infrastructure, so that the development community can cover the additional dollars to be able to build the affordable single-family housing. Now, Casey Thomas is here. She's the director of Neighborhood Services, and she has brought with her today some great exhibits that really show what the affordable housing can look like with bond dollars, as well as, you know, who would qualify from that perspective, but then also really dive into a lot more of the specifics, and I'm sure you may have some questions, and we'll go and dive into that at the end of this particular presentation. Next is public safety proposition, and this is at $63.9 million. This includes the new Fire Station 46 to assist with the Southwest Fort Worth area at $19.4 million, the rebuilding of Fire Station 40 in the Northwest Fort Worth area at $15 million, and the new 911 call center. So the new 911 call center will actually, as it's being proposed, it's proposed to be in the Zipper building. If you've had a chance to visit, go to downtown, you'll be able to see that there's a little zipper on a mural on the outside, and that is that specific 28.3 million would be utilized to renovate the building, but also bring together under one roof, like a one-stop shop of our services related to fire, to police, to emergency management. And we know that technology is changing constantly, and this is an opportunity for us to be able to optimize our services so that we can increase our level of service, and we can all work together to be able to bring together a new 911 call center for our residents across the city. We do have Sunny here today who can also dive into any of the specifics, talk to you more about the technology, why it's important, especially to take us through for a couple more decades. And so the next slide is related to the animal shelter proposition at $59.9 million. And this includes building a new animal control shelter with increased space. And it's intended to replace the current Chuck and Brenda Silcox animal shelter. Now, the current animal shelter was built in 1998. It has since been expanded 3 times to the point where there is no more room from an expansion standpoint, but also being built in 1998, the 2000 census for the city of Fort Worth, the population was about 560,000 people. So we have since doubled in that amount. And for every 1,000 individuals that move to the city of Fort Worth, there's about 25 to 35 animals that enter the animal welfare system. And so this was an opportunity that staff proposed to be able to take advantage of being able to build a new animal shelter so that there could be increased space, so that we can also possibly attract more volunteers to be able to come in and when it comes to our animal shelter area. And we have Brian over there. Yep. He's very passionate and can also talk about all the nuances, all the specifics for that specific proposition. So that's there. All right, so in our next slide, I'd really like to give a highlight of our bond program. Like, how did we arrive here? What's been the past, and how, what have been the amounts as well, right? So in 2018, the bond program was at $400 million. And you can see where all of the projects are. Again, all the propositions that you've seen here today, except for, of course, affordable housing, because affordable housing, believe it or not, is actually newer to the overall bond program. That actually came on board about this past August. And so it's newer to the bond program, so it was not part of that $400 million, but either way, so diving in, you can see where all the projects are located, and if we move to the next slide, you'll see that in 2022, the bond program was at $560 million. So you can see where the 2018 bond projects are grayed back, and the 2022 are overlaid. And if you go to the next slide, we can see the 2026 bond program at $840 million, where we have, again, through ranking and through being able to balance across the city as well. And I'll go ahead and get your question at the end of the presentation. You can see where all the various projects are located. And so you may also ask, okay, so 2022 bond program, where are the projects? How are they now? Well, we are fortunate to come forward every 4 years to be able to go to that next bond program. It's related to public infrastructure. That helps seed new projects to be able to begin with design, right-of-way acquisition if it's needed, permitting and so forth to go into construction. And so we're able to utilize those dollars so that if we can complete construction within 4 years, that is great, but sometimes some projects tend to go a little bit longer because say they have to go through a federal component and we have to federalize and meet all those requirements, well then at that point, construction may begin right at the end of that 4-year mark, or if not, it's earmarked to actually begin in that next bond cycle. So there are some strategy behind how we have selected a lot of these projects, and we're more than happy to dive into those specifics. So as I mentioned at the very, very start, all these projects are not entirely baked. This was our best foot forward, and having worked with city staff and with city council since October, in April, throughout the summer, in August, and here today, so that we can, you go to the next slide, really talk about potential project swaps. So this is just a list to kind of get the conversation started. But if you feel passionate about specific projects, or if you are in favor of one proposition increasing or others decreasing, or whatever that may be, we really want to hear back from you through this process. And there is something, just a concept to always keep in mind, is that by adding, say, one project, you need to be able or have an understanding of what can be removed from either that same proposition or another proposition. Because again, we have $840 million in bond capacity. So we need to be able to fit all of our projects within that amount. So if I, for example, today wanted to add the Belknap Riverside intersection, it's shown here as a potential cost at $6 million. But we would still have to narrow down what that dollar is. So I would have to look at the overall projects and say, okay, what would I be willing to take off that list? And that's a lot of tallying, a lot of back and forth trying to make up and see how my $840 million would lay out at the end of the day. So what we've done is we've created a great tool called the Balancing Act tool. And if we go to the next slide, we have added a QR code. So if you take out your phone and you're able to highlight that QR code, it will take you to the Balancing Act. Or you can also visit it at www.connectfw.com. And that Balancing Act will walk you through each one of the propositions where you can select, unselect, increase, decrease, various propositions, various projects. And in each one of those propositions, you can submit comments and you can say, I'm for this, or would like to see XYZ instead, or whatever your comment may be. It's really just adding that information in there because we're actually able to aggregate. Once you hit submit, we aggregate all that data so that we can work with our leadership, we can work with our council members to really say that throughout this entire process that we work together and engaging with our community, these are some of the results. This is what our residents would like to see, proponent of. You fill in all that information, but that is what we're able to aggregate all together. Because we're here in engagement communities right now, fall 2025, we plan to have our project list finalized towards the end of this year. So we still have, plenty of work ahead of us, a fun time. And then so that we can work with council and so that council is prepared to call the election in the January, February timeframe so that we can come back out for one last round to really show you what that final list looks like after having aggregated your data, taken into account all of your comments or questions in early 2026 so that our residents are ready to head out for the bond election on May 2nd, 2026. So that was a whole lot of information in a very quick time frame. Again, the video is online through YouTube, but we also have microphones because this is a live streamed event. And if you happen to have any questions, I believe we had one question up front, we'll go ahead and pass around the microphone. I wish I could answer all the questions, but we have a room full of subject matter experts, and so they'll also be tagging in and helping answer those questions. So first question.
I had a question. Is it on?
It is on.
Okay. I had a question about the prior bonds, the 18 and the 22. So are any of those things that were in those bonds still ongoing, or did they all finish?
I believe there are, in the 2022 bond program, there are still some that are ongoing. Again, a lot of it came back to possibly some
The federal
type of things, right-of-way acquisition. And so our staff, we have prioritized to make sure that those get out the door. But then also there have been some cycles where in the previous bond cycle, they said like project Y was supposed to be for design only. And so you may see that project name again, but in this time around, it will be construction. And we have labeled that within previous bond cycles so that our residents are aware of the intent of those projects.
And the money is not included in the new bonds at all.
Correct. That stays within that specific bond. The time in which we do cover costs for this bond cycle, again, is if we've outlined it and now we've said we're going to do construction now. And we have a question up here, and then we have a gentleman in the back.
Good morning. Are any of the numbers that were listed for the different allocations projections, or are those solid numbers?
For each of the propositions, the amounts that are shown for each, like the 60.9% for streets and mobility, those can, in theory, increase or decrease based off of feedback and also council and leadership. So it's not entirely baked, but that, as long as the overall bond program at $840 million is what we're aiming for.
Okay. So another question, I'm sorry. When you mentioned that for public housing, I think there's the $5 million total. I know it's only 0.6% for the public housing or the, affordable housing. You said that 1% would come from the government? Or that there's a leverage there from the government. $4 million will come from the city, and then $1 million will come from some sort of leveraged funding?
So the $5 million is all local dollars. This is all city dollars with the bond program. $1 million would be used for land acquisition or for purchasing of like the blighted home of the properties. And then $4 million would be utilized towards the public infrastructure component when it comes to affordable housing, affordable single-family, single-owner occupied housing. So you can think of water and wastewater impact fees, so related to meters, if there isn't one that exists there today. We can also think about service lines, so water and sewer service lines. Some of them may be, technically out of water department policy, where they're smaller in size and they need to be upsized. Another thing can be related to sidewalks. So there's a lot of those public infrastructure that, in theory, a developer or someone coming in to build their home would have to cover themselves. But through this program, we're utilizing our dollars to cover the public-based infrastructure. And Casey, would you like to add anything else related to that response?
Yes, and so as April mentioned, the leveraging part comes on what the developer would be bringing to the table. So for example, when we're building a house, we may be contributing to the water and sewer impact fees, but then there's still the construction of the home. So let's say, for instance, a $200,000 home. And so that's the leveraging piece, is that even though we're putting in $5 million, there's additional funds that the development community would bring to the affordable housing initiative.
Okay, is that somewhat the same as the animal shelters? Because I noticed there's a large amount allocated for animal shelters and then the $5 million for the affordable housing.
Yeah, so the affordable single-family housing focuses on leveraging for the animal shelter. That is the dollars, and this is the city's opportunity to be able to cover that entire capital one-time infrastructure cost, and that would be the cost to be able to develop that specific animal shelter. And so there currently is no leveraging of those dollars, and I'll go ahead and have Brian add a little bit more.
No problem. I'm pretty loud. Let me, I guess, get where everyone can see me. Yes, the difference there is one is being leveraged, with private builders and everything else. This is an all-encompassing one-time buy for the animal shelter, and it's replacing an aging existing shelter that the infrastructure, the HVAC, plumbing, all of that, because significant cleaning is done with our animals to prevent disease, everything else, and what it's operating in right now was never meant to handle that sort of traffic, and so it's wore out to the point where doing all the repairs would be significantly more than simply replacing it. And when you replace it, this is going to be a building that's going to last significantly longer than what's there now. I think I answered the question. Yes, better for the animals, better for everyone else. It's going to have the proper space they need, natural light, the play areas. And the other aspect of it, which isn't talked about quite a lot, is our staff that works there also has a lot of challenges just with their own, day-to-day operations. And this would be a significant improvement for them, which also serves, the animals, but the public as well as our field services where they're out in every single one of your neighborhoods picking up animals. So.
What will happen with the existing shelter, and will the new one be named still for Chuck and Brenda, or will it have a whole new life?
The naming is still subject to whatever city council wants to go after. As far as the existing building, though, and land, we're going to use that to leverage for the land acquisition if this is approved, to sort of, still get the use out of it, but not through the city. Yes.
Okay.
We want to use the microphone because we're live on TV
Okay, sorry.
streaming.
Did Chuck and Brenda Silcox help pay for that other one? Is that why their name's on it? I mean, is that a possibility again to get someone to help sponsor?
I don't think it was a naming right per se. It was simply they cared about animals and put a lot of effort into it, and he was a previous council member. So that was just like a lot of these buildings will get named after previous council members due to their impact.
No money was given for it?
I don't believe so, no.
Okay.
Okay, we had a question, gentleman in the back right corner. With a microphone, please.
We're streaming, so we're live streaming, so we want to use the microphone. Thank you.
What I'd like to know is where in the bond does it talk about mass transit, and where can I find the money that's being allocated for improvements in mass transportation, and what's the vision for mass transportation going forward?
Yeah, so as it comes, it's related to mass transit. I know there's a mobility category within the proposition, and if there are opportunities to leverage those dollars, we can also add to that. And Dana will go ahead and expand a bit more on mass transit.
Yeah, thank you for the question. So the Trinity Metro is the Fort Worth Transportation Authority. So they're a separate entity from the city of Fort Worth. So they receive dollars from the sales tax, and then they also receive dollars from the Federal Transit Administration and through the North Central Texas Council of Governments. So transit is funded separately, not funded through the city of Fort Worth, correct. Yeah, thank you. But we do support transit through the city's Transportation and Public Works Department. We support transit by helping to fund sidewalks, to support safe routes to transit. And we also try to support development that supports access to transit, but it's more indirect, if you will. Yeah, thank you, though.
It's a great question. Here we go. Okay, question up here.
You had mentioned a $25 million amount for Gateway Park it's kind of a tentative number. And I thought that had been up to 26, but whatever it turns out to be, if that is passed, we have a wonderful master plan for Gateway Park, which I hope that money will all be used toward that master plan, but how will it be determined which parts of that plan are done first?
Great question. We do have Dave Lewis here to help expand on that.
Good morning, Dave Lewis, Director of Park and Recreation Department. A couple of things right now. We have, even though it's probably phase 8 or 9, we're calling phase 1 underway right now that's launched since the new master plan. We have about $14 million that's currently in design, expected to go under construction very soon. All of that will be on what we're calling west of Beach Street portion of the park. The amount we are putting in now, however, will not complete everything west of Beach, so it's expected that if this bond does pass, the first part of the $25 million would go to complete that portion, and then we would reach back out to the community to figure out which portions of the master plan are the next priority. So it's yet to be determined how the $25 million would be spent. It's expected that a realignment of the front entrance would be important, some new realignment of some of the trail system. As you know, there's a lot of erosion. There are some closed trails that need to be rerouted, but we would definitely reach back out to the community to understand the next highest priority of that.
Thank you, Dave. There's a question up here. Now, we're coming up on time, but I do know that we had some technical difficulties, so we'll have time about 3 more questions or so, and then go from there. So there is a gentleman or lady in purple.
Yes. Okay. I would like to just suggest that you talk about green space. Stop what the city's doing, selling the Cowtown Inn property, 7100 block of East Lancaster. Leave that as a green space. And please look forward to looking at our Meadowbrook Library. We have space, we could be expanded, and there are many people in our community that need the library without transportation and difficulties getting there. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Okay. There's
Hi,
another
I'm
lady.
Sam Cortopassi. I am a volunteer and foster with the Fort Worth Shelter. I am absolutely in support of it, and trust me, when I first saw that 59 point whatever million dollars, I just about fell out of my chair. But the more you look into it, the more you realize that it is dramatically needed. The current Chuck and Brenda Silcox shelter was built in '98. At the time, the Fort Worth population was 400,000. Currently, we are well over 1 million. So that shelter is out of space, like y'all have said. It's also desperately out of date. There are so many issues when you go in there. You have to walk between the kennel rooms, which promotes a spread of disease and conflicts between dogs and people and everything. The HVAC, the ventilation system, it's not isolated to each room. So the medical isolation area is connected by that HVAC center to the healthy dog areas, to the visitor and waiting rooms. It's connected through everything. So it just kind of blows disease around. 3 years ago, we had an outbreak of distemper, and we had another minor outbreak last year-ish. And they had to close intake, which means there's more stray dogs in the neighborhood, which creates a public safety issue. Because those animals don't know you, people are trying to catch them, there's nowhere for them to go. I've heard people mention, oh, let's do a mobile spay and neuter vaccination clinic to help with the population issue. It's already in the works. That's already in the works. It's not a part of this bond, I believe. But something that a lot of people don't realize about the shelter. The current shelter, it's really depressing to go into. People don't want to volunteer and foster. And the shelter is not just an animal shelter, it's a community center for people. I had my own mental health crisis last year, and it was the volunteers and fosters that had become my friends and family were the ones that reached out and said, you're not okay. Here's how we're getting you help. Here's what you need to do. It was the staff that reached out and said, hey, we haven't seen you in a while. Are you okay? So I know that's just me and my story, but I also know dozens of other volunteers and fosters and staff at that shelter that have had their own issues, and everyone has rallied around them to help. So it's more than just an animal center. It's a community center, and it's community outreach.
Okay, we have one more.
Oh, good morning, good morning. My name is Torchy White, and I'm an East Sider. And I would like to make sure that the Meadowbrook Golf Course is recognized, and that this room understands that that bond money went to enhancing that golf course. Okay, I live in District 5, it's in District 11, but we're all East Siders. So we invite you to please support the golf course. It has been newly renovated. It is beautiful. It is absolutely beautiful. So thanks staff for participating in that. But we ask you to participate by at least, go and have breakfast there, go and have lunch there so we can support it and keep it going. Now, we've asked for, and supposedly is in the bond package, to expand it to a full-service restaurant, because we on the east side are continuously begging for a restaurant. And this can be our go-to facility, okay? It can be our meeting place. It can help farmers. and it can benefit our business community, and it's our East Side heritage. So please go over and have a burger. They don't have much there now, but the burgers are excellent. They are very good. But the views are just astounding, okay, from inside and then on the patio. So thank the city for making sure that we on the east side have a go-to spot. Thank you.
Thank you. We are going to conclude this portion of the presentation. Our staff is here to be able to answer additional questions. If you haven't picked up handouts, please do so. We'll be here for a couple more minutes. And Councilwoman Peoples, for closes out.
Thank you, April Rose, so very much for doing this. And so I want to point out before we close, I want to thank Torchy and for talking about the Meadowbrook Golf Course, and I want to thank you all for bringing up Gateway Park. We live on the east side, and while I'm going to fight for you in District 5 like crazy, we talked about the comprehensive plan. So we are looking at how we improve the quality of life for all of us in all parts of Fort Worth. And so I know some questions came up about affordable housing. They work. Casey and her team work very hard on the affordable housing issue. We do a lot in District 5 around affordable housing. We're going to leverage those dollars to make sure that we increase more. The whole green space issue, I think you all know, I moved back to the east side because of the beauty and the green space, and we're going to make sure that we're taking advantage of that. We're working with the Parks Department to be sure that we're upgrading and doing things. I think there are a lot of great things in this bond proposal that we can build on, but I want you all to please use the QR code. Go in and give me your thoughts. I came on board in May and I'm opinionated. They know I sit in those meetings and go, what's in it for District 5? And so, but I need your help to make sure that I'm fighting for the things you care about. I'm fighting for green space. I'm fighting for affordable housing. I'm fighting for roads. We have many erosion issues because we do have a lot of floodplain in District 5. I can't do it without you going in and telling us how you feel about it. But city staff has worked very hard on this. And we've got some assistant city managers who are here, just kind of waved. I see Dana back there. I see Jen back there. I see Deanna. And so they're here to answer your questions. Fort Worth Labs, you don't know how hard the city folks have worked on this. And so, but they can only do it properly with your feedback. So please use the QR code. Tell us what you think. And by all means, I'm not supposed to probably say this, but support this bond program. We're growing so quickly and we need to get these things done so we can move forward. Thank you.